guys started, right?
We're just starting right now. We were waiting for you, David. We were waiting just for you to come in.
Missed the whole service.
Actually, it's over. It's over. The announcement should be read right now. We have someone at the door. Oh, it's David. He rang the doorbell because yes, he likes to ring the doorbell. Come on. Hi.
You ring the bell assuming it was locked?
No, I don't know who rang the bell. David rang the bell. He did. He rang the bell.
No, you didn't.
Yes, you did.
Okay. So we have some printouts special.
75-year-old college student.
We have some printouts available.
That information gets spread.
We simply don't have enough of it, actually.
It's fine. Yeah, I have my own.
The one with women, what does that? Okay, here we go.
We'll share with Jay and I'll share with you. Okay, we'll share.
All right. Our live streams are up. Thank you everyone for joining us. We have a very special service dedicated this evening for International Holocaust Remembrance Day. We're going to start our service off before we light our Shabbos candles with lighting 6 candles, one for each of the million Jews who perished in the Holocaust. Little background on today and our observance of today. The Knesset and the State of Israel, the United Nations Department of Global Communities, and the Jewish communities throughout the world have proclaimed the 27th day of January as a day of remembrance of the martyrdom of the 6 million of our people who perished in the European Holocaust, and also as a day to commemorate the liberation of Auschwitz concentration camp. This morning there was an official ceremony organized by the United Nations marking this solemn occasion. You can view the ceremony either on the UN or the National Holocaust Museum website. The theme of this year is home and belonging, and it highlights the humanity of the Holocaust victims and the survivors who had their homes and the entire sense of belonging ripped from them by the perpetrators of the Holocaust. It is our obligations as members of the Jewish community to remember the people, the communities, and the synagogues that were destroyed in an attempt to erase their name, our faith, and the culture of the Jewish people. We must honor their memory and our memory of all those who perished and all those that suffered because they were Jews. We must always respond with humanity towards all the victims of hate. We must oppose all hate speech, anti-Semitism, Holocaust denial, and prejudice against all minority groups. It is our duty to do all that we can to prevent future genocides from ever occurring. Now, you've all been provided one of
I'll
these.
read the poem first.
You'd like to read that now? Okay.
Before the, yeah, it goes before.
Okay.
The poem I'm about to read was written by the late Ted Cardsman. Ted was a resident of Monroe and a member of Rickless. This poem was always recited during our Yom HaShoah ceremonies. 6 million tears. 6 million tears. 6 million cries for help. 6 million cries for mercy. 6 million cries to save humanity. 6 million cries to save the world. 6 million tears. 6 million tears that saturated the barren blood-soaked earth of Europe. And the world reacted with stone-faced silence and feigned ignorance. There would be no help. There would be no salvation. There would be no rescue, only death. 6 million deaths. 6 million deaths. 6 million murders. 1.5 million children. All Jews must die. All Jews must die because they are Jews. All Jews must die because they are Jews. All Jews must die. 6 candles. 6 candles for 6 million. 6 candles for 6 million souls. 6 million lights to illuminate the silence and the blighted darkness. 6 candles to tell the world that we have not, nor will we ever forget. 6 candles for 6 million tears. Yes, 6 million tears. Thank you.
We'll now light 6 memorial candles tonight, and each candle will symbolize 1 million Jewish souls murdered in the Holocaust. Can we dim the lights as we light each of these candles? Our first candle is noted. We light this candle in the memory of helpless infants, children, and teenagers who were cut down in their young, like young trees before their time, before they had a chance to experience life in its fullness. I'd like to invite up our youngest children. That would be you, David. Perhaps Pam also. You're not quite a child anymore, but it is certainly David, to light this candle as it is memorializing the parish lives of children.
How does it work?
I know, it doesn't. It's a little finicky.
Oh, no. Ow. One. Ow! Oh, ow, it burned my finger.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, I'll help you.
Okay, the next youngest.
Yeah.
Directly from my
That might be
finger.
I'll get you some water. Hang on.
Just stand.
You know how to do that.
That's okay. Alright, you get some water?
It's not that bad.
You're sure?
We'll say now together, we will not forget.
We will not forget.
Candle 2. We light this candle in memory of parents who died with their children in their arms. Any parents here today with children are welcome to light the second candle. Maybe that can include you, or it may include Lori. Beth, if you'd like to as well. Together, we will not forget. Candle 3. We light this candle in memory of all the mothers and fathers who were cruelly separated from their families. Mothers and fathers as well may join up to light the next candle. Any fathers, because it was the mothers who were up first.
Fathers and children were here.
Oh, gotcha.
No, it's good, it's good.
I think he's gonna burn his fingers also. I think it should be pushed to the other end,
Together, we will not forget. Candle 4. We light this candle in memory of the scholars, teachers, and rabbis who were the first to be seized.
We will not forget.
We will not forget. Candle 5, we light this candle in memory of the heroes of the resistance who fought the Nazis, a few against so many. Any veterans are welcome to join in joining the next candle lighting.
Yeah, but I'd like to do this in honor of my friend's father, Nat Schuster. He was a member of the Polish partisan group. These are a little short.
I matched it.
Yeah.
The match is much easier. I'm going to take this.
Thank you.
We will not forget. Candle 6, we light this candle in memory of the martyrs who gave their lives so that others may live. I'd like to invite up any volunteer for the final candle. We will not forget. We now raise the lights, turn the lights back on in the building. After our service this evening, you may take one of the yahrzeit candles and you may light it at your own time after Shabbat has ended. But those candles you may use also as well for when Yom HaShoah comes around too. So we're going to proceed with our service on page 6 of our Siddurim, with Shalom Aleichem. Page 6 of our Siddurim. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShayret, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamayim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boechem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamayim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Nile Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamayim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Seidchem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamayim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'd like to invite up Heidi to light our Shabbos candles on page 7 of our Siddurim.
Come, let us welcome Shabbat.
May its radiance illuminate our hearts.
Light is the symbol of the divine.
The eternal is my light and my salvation.
Light is the symbol of the divine within us.
The human spirit is the light of the eternal.
Light is the symbol of the divine law. Light is the symbol of Israel's mission.
I, the eternal, have made you a covenant people, a light to the nations.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahad l'kner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, O eternal our God, who makes our lives holy through divine mitzvot and has commanded us to kindle the Shabbat lamp.
Amen.
May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat joy.
Amen.
May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat peace.
Amen.
May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat holiness.
Amen. Page 9, we'll join together for L'chai Dodi. L'chai Dodi Likra Kala Yadada 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 P'nei Shabbat Nekavela L'chai Dodi Likra Kala Yadada 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 P'nei Shabbat Nekavela Shamor Bezachor B'dibor Echad Tishmeanu Echanuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litzila l'chai doiti l'ikra kala yedada 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 p'nei Shabbat nekavela l'chai doiti l'ikra kala yedada 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 p'nei Shabbat nekavela Likrat Shabbat lehu benelcha ki mekor habracha merosh mikeden nesuka sof ma'asa b'machsha tehila lechai doiti likrat kala yadada 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 p'nei Shabbat nekavela lechai doiti likrat kala yadada 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 p'nei Shabbat Nekavela hi ori kiva oret kumi ori shir daveri kavod Adonai alai negila lechai doiti likra kala yadada 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 p'nei Shabbat Nekavela lechai doiti likra kala yadada 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 p'nei Shabbat Nekavela. Now we face the entrance or exit of our building as we now allow the Shabbos bride to enter into our midst. Boi b'shalom atzeret bala gam b'simcha u'v'sola Toch emune am sigula boi kala lechai doiti likra kala yadada 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 p'nei Shabbat nekavela lechai doiti likra kala yadada 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 p'nei Shabbat nekavela. Remain standing now for Hatzi Kaddish on page 11 of our Siddur readings. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba B'yamadi rachirutei yamich malchutei B'chayekon u'v'yoymekon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Ba'agala u'vizman kariv V'yamaru amen Yahei shmei rabba mevorach Le'adam yolome amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitbraman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei l'kudesha rehu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiram yama v'yameru amen. Page 12, we'll join together for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai Amevorach.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Ambarach Leolam Vaed. Page 13, we join together in the English translation. Eternal God, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you, and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, ha-ma'ariv arabim. Blessed are you, O Eternal, who brings on the evening. Page 15, we'll join together for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. V'hafta is on page 16. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha ub'chol nafshecha ub'chol meotecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shimatan levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha ub'letecha b'derech u'shachbecha u'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'ktamtam al mezuzot beitecha u'b'yisharecha v'ma tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kiroshim levolechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'aretz Mitzrayim להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, emet. Join together now on page 18 of our Sidurins from Mi Chamocha. Page 18. Mi Chamocha Balim Adonai, Mi Chamocha Nedar Kodesh, Nora Tehilot Osei Fele Machutecha Ra'u Banecha Bokiyam Lifnei Moshe Ze'eli Anu V'Anru Adonai Yiloch Le'olam Va'ed V'ne'emar Ki Farah Adonai Et Yaakov V'lo Mirad Hazak Mimenu Baruch Eta Adonai Gam Al Yisrael. Page 19, we join together for the translation, responsive reading for Hashkidenu. Cause us, O eternal our God, to lie down in peace and to awaken us each morning to life renewed with strength. Spread over us the holy shelter of your peace.
Help us to order our lives by your counsel and lead us in the paths of righteousness. Be a shield about us, protect us from evil war, from pestilence and sorrow.
Curb also within us the inclination to do evil and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Guard our going out and our coming into with life, with peace from this time forth, from now until forever.
Blessed are you, O eternal, whose holy shelter and peace is spread over us, over all God's people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Page 20, we'll join together for Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asod et ha-Shabbat le'doretam le'olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asod et ha-Shabbat le'doretam le'olam. V'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asod et ha-Shabbat le'doretam berit olam. Ki shesh yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asod et ha-Shabbat le'doretam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat. Lasot et ha-Shabbat le'dorei merid olam. We now rise for the Amidah prayer tefillah on page 21 of our Sidurims. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotinu v'imotzeinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah El Agadol Hagibor Ba'anurah El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim Vekonei HaKol V'zocher Hazdeavot V'imachot U'mevi Ge'ula Livnei B'nechem L'man Shemo V'yahava Melech Ozer U'Mashiach Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor L'olam Adonai Mechayei HaKol Atah Rabbe Hoshia Mashiva Ruach U'marid HaGeshem Mekakel Hayim V'Chesed Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim Soimech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim U'matir Asurim Omekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha ba'al gevurot u'midoy melach melech nemid u'mechayei u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atalech ha'chayot ha'kol Baruch atah Adonai mechayei ha'kol Atah kadosh v'shim hakadosh v'koshim b'chol yom yehallelu chasela Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. We bow in silently until page 29. join together for Oseh Shalom on page 29. Oseh Shalom Dimramav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. To invite Eileen for a very quick few words.
I wrote everything down so I wouldn't forget, because it's very important. My name is Eileen Lorner, and I'm the owner of Nice Jewish Girls Home Health Agency. I work solely for the Holocaust survivors. I've been doing it for 30 years now, and I'm part of the Survivor Grant Program, which comes straight from Germany. I am a full-service agency providing house cleaning, home health aides, live-ins, and hospice care. I prevent the Holocaust survivors from going into nursing homes. We hold their hands until the end. My clients have inspired and have reminded me every day to never forget. I am also the Commissioner of Human Relations for Monroe Township, and on April the 18th, which is also a Memorial Day for the Holocaust survivors, I will be having speakers come to the library. There will be Holocaust survivors there, as well as our rabbi. That's on the 18th at 2 o'clock, and you're all welcome to come, and there will be other things said as we get closer to the date. Thank you very much.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. We're now in Parshas Bo, and we are in the throes of our Exodus narrative. Last week was the first 7 plagues that befell Egypt, and this week are the final 4. Last week I spoke about Parshas Vayera, and many of the themes, even the language used in last week's Torah portion, are relevant to this week's Torah portion. For instance, let my people go once again appears in this week's Torah portion. This phrase from last week's Torah portion is repeated again and again in this week's Torah portion. Moses and Aaron, they go before Pharaoh on behalf of Am Yisrael, the people of Israel, to plead for their permission to leave Egypt, to wander that desert towards freedom. Moses is directed by Hashem to go before Pharaoh and say, Shalach et ami, let my people go. Moses approached Pharaoh 5 times in last week's Torah portion, and Moses approached him again and again in this week's Torah portion, pleading again, Shalach et ami, let my people go. However, as the plagues befell Egypt, Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he grew increasingly spiteful of the people of Israel. Last week in this week's Torah portion is a sort of genesis to our beginning. In Egypt, we were shackled in bondage, and again, this story has repeated itself to our people. Exodus sets the tone for our people as it still does today. Again and again we have suffered, we were victims. Again and again ruthless tyrants have deprived us of our humanity, our freedom, and our lives. But we've also stood up against pharaohs, tyrants, and demagogues, again and again, timelessly. In our Torah reading, Moses and Aaron, they go before Pharaoh many times. They don't quit. They don't quit before going before Pharaoh. They are persistent. They endure and prevail, and that is part of our story of the Jewish people. One side of that story cannot be complete without the other. This is how I spoke in last week's Torah portion. And my sermon delved into the history of anti-Semitism and pondered the theological perspectives as they may relate to the Holocaust and anti-Semitism. I began to explore some of Holocaust and post-Holocaust theologians, including Rabbi Kalman Shapiro, Zelig Kalmanovich, and even Rabbi Louis Jacob. I talked about spiritual resistance in the place of never again and its meaning for our people. And I talked about the freedom of Soviet Jewry movement, of Natan Sharansky, and his personal role in their institution informing who I am as a rabbi. Passionately called upon our institutions, Jewish institutions in general, to play a more active role in a battle against anti-Semitism. But I want to return to something overlooked in last week's sermon that seems very relevant in this week's Torah portion. Both last week and this week we read in our parsha not simply Shalach et Ami, that is, let my people go. The various Hebrew morphological forms all seem to play upon this very easily. But the words to follow are equally as important. It is Ve'ya'avduni in Hebrew, that means so that they may serve or worship me. So what does this fuller phrase mean? What, if any, relationship does freedom to our abilities have for our abilities of worship? Freedom is a core principle of this nation, of the United States. First Amendment protects freedom of religion. Article 6 of the United States Constitution provides that no religious test shall be required as a qualification of any office or public trust under the United States of America. This foundationary text has been the guiding principle for our nation and has been used to protect marginalized groups, including American Jews, throughout American history. We American Jews lived during a period of unprecedented history. In contrast to the pains European Jews have experienced, the American Jewish community has had very limited engagements with anti-Semitism. Our freedom in this nation has traditionally protected us greatly, and the Constitution has been formative to this experience. But what does this mean for our people? How has this unprecedented period of our history emboldened our faith in God? Recall what happens to our people once they return to the land of Israel from their exodus. They establish a Davidic line, but as the generations branch upward, growing further in time and distance from our exodus narrative, faithlessness and idolatry eventually corrupt both Israel and Judah at various points of their histories. That is to say, with great freedom comes great responsibility. We live in a similar juncture of Jewish history today. We have trickled through a mighty stream and mighty waves of migration to this nation. The generations closest to a great exodus from all four corners of the earth have survived, they've aged, and our Holocaust survivors are aging with them. For these generations, freedom meant survival. The expression and internalization of Jewish identity and religion for these generations was interlocked with freedom. It was freedom that assured those expressions of faith and Judaism. The vast majority of American Jews today seem very often disconnected from those experiences under the joy and freedom of this country and freedom of faith. As we become more privileged in America, we have assumed many fallacies, and that includes anti-Semitism cannot happen here in this country. But the gradual uptick of anti-Semitism over the past few years has proven otherwise. We cannot assume freedom without responsibility. Our responsibility must be fighting anti-Semitism. Serving God and completing this mission are one in the same. As we read today in Parshat Bo, our narrative shows that again and again a tyrant has risen against us, and again we have prevailed. Our service to God is the very act of defiance against tyranny and oppression. Today we've been called to stand up for our people, and we will only prevail if we are persistent in our message. We must not be complacent. We must not excuse anti-Semitism. We need an overwhelming voice to say, never again starts now. Can you hear it? So may it be God's will. Amen. So in just a moment, we'll join together for the Misha Barak prayer. Tomorrow, I'll be reciting names from our Misha Barak list. If there's any names anyone would like to add to the list that exists of our Misha Barak prayer, or any names that come to mind this evening, please share with us those names right now.
Barbara, Allen, and Alicia Steinberg.
Barbara, Allen, and Alicia Steinberg.
Steve and Carol Lichtenstein.
Steve and Carol Lichtenstein.
Corinne Liz.
Corinne Liz.
Corky Hockenberry.
Corky Honkenberry.
Roger Bloomfield.
Roger Bloomfield. Yes.
Sharon Beckus.
Sharon Beckus.
Becky Bennell.
Becky Bennell. Yes.
Lois Blumholz,
Lois Blumholz.
Eva Dratler.
Eva Drotley.
Eva Dratler.
Dratler. Sorry.
Gerard Longmore
Gerard Longmore.
and Trevor Kenny.
Trevor Kenny. Okay, now we will rise for the Misha Barak prayer found at the very back of our Siddur readings. Misha Barak le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheverach imotenu mekor habrecha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Remain standing for the Aleinu on page 30 of our Siddur readings. Aleinu l'shabeach laidon hakol lateit gedula liotze breshit shelo atzanu k'yaratzot velo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama shelo sam kalkenu kachem v'goralenu k'chol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachalim u'moizim Lifnei melech malchei hamachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu netei shamayim yosid haaretz u'moshe yekaro b'shamayim mima'al ushchinatu zo b'govhei meroimim hu Eloheinu ein od emet malkeinu efes zulato Kakatuv b'toirato v'yadata hayom v'hashivota el abebecha ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shamayim mima'al v'yal haaretz mitachat ein od, page 32. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may be seated. In just a moment, I'll be reciting names from our Yortzeit list, as well as members of our community who have recently passed. After the names have been read aloud, I'd like to ask anyone in our community who's observing a Yortzeit or are in the period of Shoshim to please share those names with our community so we, as one community, can pray for the elevation of their neshama to the heavens above. Recently passed from our community are the following names: Peter Lizama, Stan Perlman, David Schneider, Raphael Marcus, Florence Schneider, Sylvia Tannenbaum, Florence Guttmacher, Philip Moret, Bruce Fleischer. Our Yortzeits continue with the following names: Harry Hayers, Jerome Pollack, George Feldman, Aaron Salitz, Lena Cohen, Sidney Appleton, Elliot Levis, Howie Korn, Millie Estrin, Max Porras, Marty Pine, Arnold Flam, Etta Spidock, Beatrice Korn, Daniel Wander, Dina Lerner, Howard Barron, Ann Langmore, Jerome Roth, Pauline Schwarb, Sheila Lewis, Charles Blasig, Cecile Libros, Jay Fox, Young Kao Chow, Ruth Levinson, Gary Friedman, Stephen Finkel, Harry Guttmacher, Leda Blumenstock, Bernice Bodock, Louis Rothberg, Edward Spidock, Molly Netterman, Bertha Friedman, Shirley Wadline. Are there any additional names anyone is observing in your site for the pair in the period of Shoshim?
Lee Benner.
Lee Benner,
Stephen Rosowski.
Stephen Rozovsky,
Jeffrey Suslowitz.
Jeffrey Suslowitz,
Barbara Goldberg.
Barbara Goldberg,
Ben Rodriguez,
Ben Rodriguez,
Fred Kellogg,
Fred Kellogg,
Judy Merman,
Judy Merman,
McDonald Smith,
McDonald Smith,
Larry Bershon.
Larry Bershon. Okay. With these names in mind, we'll now begin the mourner's Kaddish. If it is your custom, please rise. Page 33 for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Ravav v'alma divra hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael v'aygalal b'zman kari v'yimnu amen Yahei shmei Ravav mibarach le'olam elamei l'maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbahar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh v'yitzadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei l'kudashah v'reichu Laila mikol birchata v'shirata tushbekata v'nachamata damran v'alma v'yimru amen Yehi shlama rabba min shamayim v'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'yimru amen Aseh shalom yikamov hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'yimru amen May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen. I'd like to invite up now Liz for our short but uplifting announcements.
You ready?
We already did it.
Oh, the announcements. I thought you did.
I was going to say, I read it. When did I read it?
Okay.
You may be
Yeah.
seated.
Sorry. But we're still on the other one.
Who's that?
Shabbat Shalom. Saturday, January 28th, Torah study and worship, student Shabbat, virtual and in person. Torah study 9:30, worship 10:15. Havdalah and game night, February 4th, 6:30. Potluck snack night, RSVP to office by February 3rd. Rabbi Poland is offering an introduction to Judaism class. If you know someone interested in converting to Judaism and would be interested, please contact the rabbi. Refugee Shabbat and Hebrew School Consecration Shabbat is February 3rd. New member Shabbat and Shabbat across America is March 3rd. Service will be followed by a bagel and salad dinner. Dinner is at 5 o'clock, is $5 a person. You have to register for the dinner. Purim Cafe and potluck dinner and spiel March 6th. Board meeting February 8th, K to 2 leaves service March 18th. And the next blood drive is Sunday, February 12th, 9 to 2. Was Maryland. Now, the Sabrina Singer's
cake thing, which is she's collecting, things for making cakes for the Old Bridge Food Bank. The last day to donate is Wednesday. There's a box in the lot.
Okay, thank you. I'll leave this for tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. All right. We're going to conclude with Adon Olam on page 34 of our Siddurim. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa V'Hefzo Kol Azai Melech Shamo Nikra B'Yachad Rei Kitlot HaKol Levado Yimlok Nora V'hu Haya V'hu Oved V'hu Yiyeh V'Tifara V'hu Echad V'Ein Sheni Le'amshilo Le'achbira V'li Reishit V'li Tachlit V'lo Ha'oz V'Hamizra V'hu Eli V'chai Goeli V'tzor Hevli V'Yetzara V'hu Nisi Umanos Li Menat Kosi B'yom Ekra B'ya'ado Akid Ruchi V'yetzishan V'ya'ira V'imruchi Geviyati Adonai Li V'lo Ira. Good Shabbos, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Stephen, would you be so kind in leading us in the brachas? And once again, Shabbat Shalom. You can leave them right up there. That's fine.